everyone. 1 minute of jamming on this bass. This is, as you can see, a Sire P7, Sire Marcus Miller bass. As you can see, it's Sire's take on a P bass. I wanted to make a review showcase of it. I don't really know the difference. It is, as you can see, a P bass style, precision bass style instrument. Very reminiscent of a Fender precision bass, of course. And this one is actually some kind of vintage white, Olympic white, just as my just as my Fender P bass here. This is a 1974 P bass in white. I think it have been refinished sometime during its life, but it might be 25-30 years ago because it looks really old. So that is cool, but that is my main, this is my main recording and live bass. But I got this Sire of two reasons. First of all, I needed a backup for my Fender that was reminiscent of it. Kind of sounds like it, kind of looks like it. I have this also. As you can see, it's a Ibanez SR800 from '94. Very good. But it's not a Fender P bass. So if I am using the P bass on a gig and that goes down, I bought this as a backup, and it is a really good backup. Second bass, of course. I have to say that it is not as good, if you can use that, as an American Fender. I see guys on Talk Bass and YouTube raving about, oh, it is better than my American Fender. This one isn't. I don't know about them or how they. No, this is. I got it for about 450 euros on Tuman back in October. It is a good bass, but it is a mid-priced instrument because it costs like a mid-priced instrument. It feels like a mid-priced instrument. I don't know if it's. Might sound better than a mid-price instrument. I don't know. I have Ernie Ball cobalts on the bass, so of course, if you use cobalts, it sounds amazing. Whatever you use it on. Yes, sounds good. The pickup sounds okay. The preamp is pretty good. Not as good as many people say it's the best preamp ever. No. I don't know. It's mid-priced. The pots are pretty cheap. The little switch here is pretty cheap. You can see that the pickups are the routing around the J pickup, if you can see it. It is not a very good routing of that pickup. As you can see, it is not even straight and not even round. It is a mid-priced instrument. The tuners are like they are on a Squire vintage vibe, or I don't know if they call vintage modified anymore. Squire type finish. As you can see, the grain starting to. When the bass was new, the finish was amazing. Now you can see the wood grains, and you can see the finish is starting to, these lines is starting to come, like you can see on cheaper instruments. And to be honest, it is a cheap bass. It's like $400. But it's good. It's very good. It is just as good as a Yamaha TRB 500 or an Ibanez SR 500. It is in that price range, and it is as good as them. I had to find the nut because it was way too high. I had to straighten out the neck to set the action. The bindings looks okay. It's cheap. you can see that it's a cheap done binding. The inlays look okay. You can also see that they are not stellar, that this is not a Fender custom shop or a Sadowski, of course, because it doesn't cost like that. It costs just like a strap button on on a Sadowski. Well, you can see that the binding is not perfect. This rolled fretboard is okay. It's a rounder, but the frets are still sticking out, and you can feel them. The fretwork, the leveling job is okay, but as you can hear, or maybe with the sound off, and I don't have that low string action, so it is not as good as people say. Oh, it's worth $4,000. No, it's not. It is a mid-priced instrument. Sire is very good at advertising it as a high-end instrument, as a Sadowski or a Lakeland or something, but it is not that. It is an Ibanez SR 500, which means it is very, 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 very good. The pickups are a bit quiet, a bit dark, but you know, these cobalts really make it shine through, and you can hear the timbre. And if you use a pick, and I'm using it as a P-bass with a P-bass pickup because that is my preferred sound. But if you turn both pickups on, it's like over finger style, because you're not very alone. You're supposed to play bass with a pick. You know, the world's richest musician is Sir Paul McCartney, and he plays bass with a pick. He has earned 1.3 billion pounds playing bass with a pick. I can't slap. That is as far as I go with slap. So, the verdict, a very good bass. Pretty nicely put together. You feel and see that it's a mid-priced instrument, but it's a very good mid-priced instrument. It looks good. And I am going to use it as a backup bass on stage, or maybe as a drop D bass, drop C, and when I do fly dates, like if I'm going back to Japan, maybe I'm using this bass, because I don't want to bring the Fender because it's from the 70s and those are starting to get pricey. Sire, good mid-priced instruments, just as good as Ibanez or Yamaha, not as good as a Lakeland or a Sadowski. Okay? So keep that in mind. You get what you pay for. You get a good bass for $400, $500, $600. Alright? Buy one, because they're cheap, so you can buy two, just as I did. Look at this. Instead of getting one Fender, I got two Sires. So I got the B7 with a 5-string. Yeah. And this one is actually better put together than the P7. This one feels a little more solid, but the pickup routing are... I believe it feels a little more solid because it has better knobs here. But you can see the pick guard is just put there and they just drill and screw the screws in without any... They are not sunken in, they are just on top, as you can see, and they are there. You can see the screws are sticking up, and you really... Now you can use the string through. With the old bridge, those big square ones, when you had to intonate it, this hole here with the strings come out, could the square ones, the squared saddle here, could be over that. So they changed the bridge to a cheaper, maybe Fender style bridge, but good instrument also. I got this one dirt cheap on Thomann. I think I paid 400 euros for this because it was a B stock. So I got it as soon as I saw it. No, just click by. Not a scratch. Even the strings. Well, here you can see the fretworks are okay because they're mid-priced. You have to remember that. Mid-priced instrument. Not as good as an American Fender, but very good for what they are. Yes, bye.